I've been really lucky over the last couple of years where I've been given some plants, mainly succulents and cacti, by people who simply didn't want them anymore, couldn't care for them anymore, so they've come and lived with me. These plants, some of them are over 40 years old, and I feel a bit of a pressure when they come into my space, considering they've lived in other people's family homes for so long. They now happily live in my space, and they have done for the last 2.5 years. I always find it quite fascinating and just wondering what these plants have seen and heard in their lifetime. Equally fascinating that they live in their natural habitat for years, but when we put them in a pot, that they can live for so long in our spaces, considering we're giving them the right care. So in this video, I'm going to share 8 plants that I have rehomed and that have lived in my care for the last 2.5 years. So let's get going. The first one, I believe, is called Old Man of the Mountain, which is the common name. And when I was introduced to this plant by a lovely elderly lady called Sue, who's had him for, I think, about 25 years, she introduced him to me as the naughty one. And you'll understand why when I show you what he looks like. I definitely need a glove for this. So let me go and get the naughty one and you'll see what I mean. Introducing you to the naughty one. This has been lovingly cared for by a lady called Sue. He's so fascinating and such a topic of conversation. He lives in my kitchen windowsill, and whenever I've got friends coming over, you can understand why it's a topic of conversation. He's so easy to look after. I've repotted it into some fresh soil, but I think it definitely needs a bigger pot just to help this plant thrive a little bit more. I fertilize it during the summer months. It's in a bright spot. It gets some direct sunshine. But yeah, I love it. And I am so pleased he's come to live with me. So the naughty one, number 1, my first plant that I've rehomed and rescued from someone who's loved him for about 25 years. He's now happily living in my collection. Number 2 is my silver torch cactus. This lovely cactus always gets a lot of attention when I post videos, people asking me what this is and how beautiful it is. In their natural habitat, this plant can grow up to 5 meters tall. I rescued it from the same lady who gave the naughty boy to me, a lady called Sue. I'm not sure how old this is. I think, could it be 20 years old, she said? I can't remember, and I don't think she remembered very well either. A few people have also asked when I've posted my videos what these white rocks are and whether I put rocks into my soil. This is purely for decorative purposes. I don't put rocks in my soil. I put some grit, some sand in for succulents and cacti just for drainage, but this is purely for decoration. I need to repot this again and give it some fresh soil because I haven't done for I think 2.5 years. It's got a new baby coming up right here as well, but I just love this plant. And the hair and the prickly parts play a part in their natural habitat. It protects the plant from very cold winters in mountains, but also protects it from some sunburn. So it's so fascinating and really lovely. So number 2 is my silver torch cactus that I've rehomed. Bit of a close-up appreciation for my silver torch cactus. It has definitely grown over the last couple of years, not very fast, but it's sprouted this brand new baby, and I just love having this plant in my collection. Number 3 is a lovely Christmas cactus that I have been given by a lovely elderly couple. It's lived in their care for many years. When I received it, I've had to cut it back quite a bit because it had some root rot. It's flowered for the last 2 years, and I'll put a picture up here for you to see what it looks like when it's in bloom. I put it outside in the sunshine during the summer. It gets some bright morning sun and some bright afternoon sun, but it's kind of shaded from the harsh afternoon sun, just so the plant doesn't burn. But nearly dropped that. I absolutely love this plant. I always bring it into my dining room come Christmas, especially when it's in bloom. It's beautiful. I need to give it a new pot as well and some fresh soil, but this is my lovely Christmas cactus that I've rehomed from a lovely family who's had it in their family home for many years. For number 4, I'm going to bring you closer to the plant rather than bringing the plant to you. It's called Spike. It's not its botanical name, but it's been named by the previous owner who's had it for 40 years. So let me bring you to Spike and you will understand why I'm not bringing it to you, but also you'll understand why it's called Spike. This lovely plant here is called Spike. The previous owner loved it for 40 years and cared for it in her conservatory. When I collected this plant, I wrapped it in loads and loads of cardboard, loaded it into my car, and it made it safely to my home and into my plant room. I really need to repot it. I'm going to show you a bit of a close-up of these spikes and how just so fascinating and beautiful this plant is. 40 years old. It's incredible how these plants can survive in the wild in their natural habitat, but also given the proper care and some love and attention, it can continue to thrive in our homes for that many years. I really need to prepare myself for repotting this plant mentally because these spikes are massive. I need to make a bit of room in my plant room and I need to give it some fresh soil. But I'm loving having Spike in my care. I tread carefully around it because it's so top heavy now. I'd hate for it to fall over, especially onto me, but that hasn't happened yet, touch wood. So let me give you a bit of a close-up of Spike and so you can appreciate those spikes as well. Here's a bit of a close-up of Spike and you can completely understand why he's called Spike. It does need a bit of a clean up. It definitely needs some fresh soil and a bigger pot, which I will do before this summer is finished. But as you can see, that soil is quite old and just completely condensed up. Some fresh soil with some lovely grit will give this plant a brand new lease of life. I shall let you know how I get on with that, and I might even film the whole, what feels like a bit of a mammoth process. But this is Spike. Number 5 is my Mammillaria cactus. Now, when I first rescued this from a lovely lady who couldn't care for it anymore, I wondered why it was lying down. I believe in their natural habitat, Mammillaria cacti love lying down and they sprawl themselves out onto the ground. I need to repot this plant. I need to give it a rectangular pot just to give this part the support that it needs, because at the moment it's kind of free hanging in the air. It has flowered for me once as well, and it's such a beautiful, beautiful plant and very unusual. I will show you once I repot it into a rectangular pot, because a round pot is just not doing the job for this lovely plant. But yeah, my Mammillaria cactus, I love having it in my collection and it's so unusual. I can't wait to have it in a better pot. This beautiful Mammillaria cactus as well has sprouted a brand new baby, and I cannot wait to pot this onto a rectangular pot to give this lovely plant the support that it needs so that it can get some ground coverage rather than hang in the air like it is now. Number 6 is my peanut cactus. It definitely wasn't this big when I rescued it. It wasn't trailing. It has flowered for me twice now, and it's such a cool plant. I repotted it when I first rescued it. I give it a fertilizer during the summer months. It's in a bright spot and it's come from a loving home. I think it's about 20 years old. When you look at the top, it doesn't look like much and the stems look quite brown and dead and unhappy, but actually they're not. I think it's just from age that these tips brown, but it's really healthy and really happy and loving the sunny spot in my plant room. Whenever these lovely plants flower, I always send the previous owners some photos just to say that your plants are happy in my care, they're flowering. But I always find these flowers don't last very long. So you have to be really quick at snapping them because some could just last for a day or two and then the flowers are gone again. So have to be on it. I'm constantly checking them just to see if any flowers are appearing. But I really love this peanut cactus and yeah, it's happy in its new home. Number 7 is a heavy biggie and it's my agave. A really lovely lady again, didn't want it anymore. She didn't know what to do with it. So I rescued this agave and it's grown massively in the last 2 years. It lives outside in a really sunny spot during the summer. I did forget to bring it in about a year and a half ago and it nearly didn't survive the British winter. It got the frost and most of these leaves were pretty unhappy. I've had to chop them down. There is a bit of a sign of an unhealthy leaf here, but it's making a recovery. I definitely need to bring it in this winter because I can't undo all this lovely growth it's done over this summer. I believe there are over 250 species of agave, and the blue agave, which is not this one, is used to make tequila. So if you love tequila, maybe get yourself a blue agave. I have no idea how to make it, but could be a new hobby. I don't drink tequila. I used to, but not anymore. In South Africa, where I grew up, my aunt has some beautiful agave outside her front gate. And I mean, they are about 10 times the size of this. They survive the South African winters because it's not as bad as the British winters. But I wish I could have these beautiful statement agaves outside my gate, but they simply won't survive the British winter. But yeah, it's lovely. I'm going to pop it outside for the last few weeks of the summer to catch up on its sun that it needs, and then it's going to come inside during the winter. Number 8 is a fascinating one and one that I don't know much about. I've rescued it from an elderly lady who just wanted to downsize on her cactus collection. And I think it's called the Button Cactus. And if it is, it's very slow growing. If anyone knows anything about this plant, if it is indeed called a button cactus, please send them my way. Please let me know in the comments below. It hasn't flowered or anything. I have repotted it when I got it into fresh soil and into a bigger pot. I know it doesn't look like much, but I actually really love it. It's so unusual and very different. But if anyone has any tips or any knowledge on this lovely plant, please let me know. For now, I'm just going to pop it back into its sunny spot where it loves, seemingly, because it's still alive after 2.5 years. And yeah, it's just very different, very unusual, and it fits right into my collection. I give it a good fertilizer. It's got some bright sun, and I'm not sure it has grown loads, but then after researching these plants, I believe they are very slow growers. So if you do have any knowledge or anything about this lovely plant, please comment below or please get in touch, because I just want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing. I'm gonna take my glove off now because that's my whole rescued collection all done. I've really enjoyed sharing those with you and I hope you enjoyed watching. If you have any questions, or indeed if you've got any knowledge or tips or any wisdom on this button cactus, which I think it's called a button cactus, please let me know. Please drop them in the comments below. I just want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing with this lovely cactus, which is no doubt many years old. But thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.